Welcome back to another episode of K&L Sports Huddle. Cage Kiplinger, Logan Hubert. Welcome back. We got a ton to get to. We're going to be talking NFL, college football, Major League Baseball. We got World Series coming up, and then guess what just started yesterday? The NBA. So we got basketball talk to round things out at the end of the episode. How we doing today, Logan?
Doing great, doing great. I'd say let's just get right into it. We've got a lot to cover and
I
not a
agree.
time window. So
I agree. So let's get right to it. It is NFL Week 8 picks against the spread. Last week, I'm slowly making my way back. I went 6-9, a slight improvement of my 5-10 from the week before, but the percentage is coming down these past 2 weeks. It's been a little rough for me. I've been biting on some dogs that have not panned out and thinking too highly on some favorites, but we'll get into this week's picks. How did you do last week?
I had a very predictable 7-8. And why I say predictable? Well, because that takes me to exactly 500. I am 54-54 on the year. So
It's awesome. You're the Mike Tomlin of picks against the spread.
I am the Mike Tomlin of picks against the spread. Yes.
All right. Week 8, Thursday night football. We got the Vikings at the Chargers. This should be a fun game. I know it was reported that Carson Wentz will be the quarterback for this game for the Minnesota Vikings. For me, with this Chargers team, I'm worried about this O-line issue that they got going on, and I don't know that I trust the defense. But really, I trust the Brian Flores defense coming into this game. I know favorites, Chargers favorite at 3.5. Favorites have done well on Thursday Night Football, but Carson Wentz is Mr. Thursday Night, if you don't know. He is 7-0 straight up on Thursday Night Football, 6-1 against the spread. In both Thursday Night Football games, he was listed as an underdog. He won outright. So in 3 straight weeks, the underdog has won on Thursday Night Football. So it's usually the favorite, but the last 3 weeks it's been Bengals over the Steelers, the Giants over the Eagles, and the Niners over the Rams. So I'm gonna go Minnesota here. I don't love the pick, but I do like it at 3.5 to at least get within that field goal.
So both teams coming off disappointing Sundays. Chargers in particular, they got carved by the Colts at home. Vikings lost to the Eagles, but not really in a way that was really encouraging because Wentz didn't play very well and they got gashed by the Eagles passing attack, which doesn't happen too often. So both teams looking for a win off of a short week. And the major statistic I'm looking at is since 2006, which was when Thursday Night Football was brought back, teams that play on the Eastern or Central time zones, when they have to travel west for Thursday Night Football, they are 4-17 straight up and 4-15-2 against the spread. I view both of these teams very closely on the power rankings, so it was a tough decision. And yeah, I agree that 3.5, I don't like it, but if it goes down to 3, I'll really like the Chargers, but I'm still going to go with the Chargers even with that hook.
That might be our first Thursday Night Football that we've disagreed on. I think we've always opened this with an agreement on TNF.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so yeah, we have started off with a disagreement, so we'll see what that has entailed for the Sunday games, which starting off, we have the Miami Dolphins at the Atlanta Falcons. You were looking at spreads right before we hopped on, so things that I list off might have changed because I looked at these this afternoon. I saw this one at Falcons -7.5. So there's always the story of Tua is bad on the road, and we clearly saw that last week. That was probably the easiest bet of the week last week. The Dolphins in that horrible weather at Cleveland against that defense, that was very, very easy pick. While the Dolphins are on the road here, it is indoors, and it's in the South technically, so it's not too far from home. But really, so the Dolphins' one win this year is against the Jets at home, which really isn't much. Falcons are the most inconsistent team in the league, arguably. but they have generally played well at home. So I don't trust the Dolphins. I think they're a team in free fall right now. I know it's 7.5. That don't like that half, but I just think the Dolphins are a terrible organization at the moment. And I see a Falcons bounce back because they've been consistently inconsistent this year. Coming off of a bad performance last week, I see them bouncing back at home. I'll take Falcons at -7.5.
Do you even have to ask me? I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm not going the Dolphins here. There's no way. Did you hear Mike McDaniel's comments? The post game presser, uh, calling out Tua for all the picks. Yeah,
yeah.
this he's going to be out of a job pretty soon, and it's going to be hard to move off any contract that they just paid for Tua there for a lot of money put into him, but. We know the Tua on the road trends, but more than that, running backs are dominating the Dolphins' defense. Last 3 weeks, it's been Quinshon Judkins 22 for 80 yards, 3 touchdowns. Um, Rico Dowdle 23 for 206 yards and a touchdown. Bijan Robinson could absolutely destroy Miami this week, and the fact that they also have Algier just kind of helps with that. Yeah, even with the 7.5, it's not. I don't love the number like you said, but I can't pick the Dolphins. Maybe for the rest of the year. Jets
They do.
at
They do play the Jets again. They do play the Jets again. So that'll
uh,
be.
yeah, we'll see. Maybe if Jets are playing Tyrod Taylor that week. Speaking of the Jets, we got the New York Jets at my Cincinnati Bengals. Um, so I didn't want to go crazy, um, you know, with the Bengals here. I know it's 6.5. I don't want to get too hyped over the Joe Flacco situation because he went absolutely off. Joe Flacco is getting this many points. Try not to overreact, but with extended rest off a Thursday night football game and playing this Jets team, since he's the play for me, Justin Fields has 91 passing yards over the past 2 games total, over 2 games. The Jets are obviously still winless this far into the season and now are going on the road. In the last 20 years, 0-4 straight up or worse teams who play on the road are actually 57-35 against the spread. I don't care. It's the Jets. I just don't think the Jets are well coached. I don't believe Aaron Glenn is a serious NFL head coach right now. I mean, I don't think he's got this team where he needs them, and obviously with the quarterback situation, it just doesn't help with that.
So yeah, Flacco carved up the Steelers, a familiar foe for him. I need to start looking at my data for teams I'm at the worst at picking. I think Jets and Bengals are both. I'm both really bad at picking, so I would definitely don't trust my judgment here. Um, Jets are going to lose, obviously, but I actually have the Jets covering the spread, mostly because I mean only 2 of their 5 losses have been more than 7 points. So, and I don't know if Flacco can repeat what he did 2 weeks in a row. Jets defense hasn't been 0-7 bad this year. I think they might present a bigger challenge than whatever the hell the Steelers were doing last week, leaving Jamar Chase wide open all the time. Like I said, yeah, I don't see any scenario where the Jets win this, especially on the road. Even though they have played decently, 3-1 against the spread when they're an underdog by at least a field goal. So I'm gonna go Jets. Yeah, I'm gonna go Jets plus 6.5. I could see this being a game where I guess you're happy if you're a Cincy fan if they won, but you're also like, yeah, I think we might need to calm things down a bit. We still have some issues that need fixed. Okay, next we have the Browns at the Patriots. I saw this as a 7-point spread. Is that
Yep.
still a thing? Yeah, Patriots are favored by 7 at home. This was one I did not like. I'm not really sure what to do here. Because the Browns defense is still very legitimate, still one of the best defenses in the league. Their offense is starting to get a little something going with the ground game, with the Judkins. so it's taken a little bit off Dylan Gabriel's shoulders. This is still a road game for a rookie quarterback who has not played very many games.
Yep.
But I think, I think the Browns defense is going to hold their own. I think this will be a fairly close. It'll be one of those games where you know who the better team is, but it'll still be close. I'm going to take the Browns +7 here. This is also the first real defense the Patriots have played in several weeks, so that could be a factor. But yeah, a lot of weird, ugly games I feel like on the schedule this week. This being one of them. The Patriots are fun to watch. It's just I just still can't properly evaluate them until I see them play. I know they beat the Bills. That was an impressive win on the road, but the Bills kind of had their own struggles still. And it'll be interesting. Patriots offense versus Brown defense. That'll be the real game. That'll be the game that'll be worth tuning in. Drake May versus Miles Garrett.
Yeah, this game, and a couple others on the Sunday slate could have been the morning game overseas, so I could just stay in bed. As much as I like the Browns defense, I have picked them when they are playing at home. I don't trust this defense to travel, nor do I trust a rookie quarterback on the road. The 7 scares me. It's a big number, especially like you said, going up against this defense. You don't want to get too high on this Patriots team just yet. We don't really know. Honestly, Drake May's taken a lot of hits, and he had one where his head hit the turf pretty hard on last Sunday's game. But I'm gonna have to go Patriots here -7, just because of the rookie quarterback on the road. I don't trust the defense to travel. When they've been on the road, it hasn't been the same when they've been playing in Cleveland. So I'll take New England -7. Giants at the Eagles. We get this matchup just 2 weeks removed from the Thursday night matchup where the Giants absolutely dominated the defending champs. In this game, I see that turning over it is 7.5 in favor of the Eagles, but the Eagles haven't lost consecutive games outright to the Giants in the same season since 2007. So I would bet the Eagles to win this game. It's just obviously going to come down to the final score in case of a backdoor cover from the Giants. Hard not to focus on what happened to the Giants last week, blowing a 19-point lead entering the fourth quarter, mixed with Denver going 3 quarters scoreless to score 33 in the fourth to win. Despite the late game collapse, Jackson Starks played really well for New York. It's been quite the surprise after Russell Wilson starting the season with New York. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I know they ended up losing that game to Denver, but just the performance they put on was really good on offense. It is hard to trust the Eagles team at the moment. It's gotten bad enough that Brandon Graham is coming out of retirement to help this team. But in this situation, I think they're going to be out for blood to, get back at them for what happened a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that Giants Broncos game was just a classic case of good teams find a way to win, bad teams find a way to lose. I mean, that's exactly what it was. But at least the Giants are a fun kind of bad, where there's hope and they're very entertaining to watch. And I'm going to take them to cover here. And the main reason is because Philly has not beaten anyone by more than 7 points all year. And I think the Giants match up decently with them. We saw that just a couple weeks ago. So this just doesn't seem like the team that Philly's going to get their first big win over. I still fully expect the Philadelphia to win this and get revenge, but just the way Dart and Scatterbo have been playing recently, I think that 7.5 is just too big. And the way Philly's wins have been coming, I don't see them winning this by more than a touchdown. So I will take the Giants at +7.5. Okay, Bills at the Panthers. Bills are coming off of a bye week. Looking for probably did some soul searching over the bye week after dropping 2 games in a row. Taking on the Panthers at home, who are 4-3, but they haven't really been that impressive. And Bryce Young likely will not be playing in this game. It looks like it'll be Andy Dalton. And I guess because of that, the Bills are 7.5-point favorites. Is that what you are seeing?
Yep.
Okay. And I think with the extra rest, I think the Bills are going to go into Carolina and cover that 7.5-point spread. I know Carolina's been good at home, but they've also not really played prolific offenses.
Yeah.
And if you take out the Jets game, the Panthers' defense has still been awful against quarterbacks, competent quarterbacks. So I would like better if it went down to -7 or -6.5. I think it was last I checked. I don't know if it now is now. It was kind of teetering that way, but I will still take the Bills just because well rested and Josh Allen's way better than any quarterback that Panthers defense has faced in their wins.
Oh, this is my dirty dog of the week. I'm going Carolina plus 7.5 at home. We were picking different dogs this week at that 7.5 number, but so Bryce Young had a high ankle sprain. It probably will be Andy Dalton starting for them this Sunday. We'll see what the news shapes out between now and Sunday. But I don't think Andy Dalton is too much of a downgrade from Young. This Bills team has one of the worst defenses against the run. Think the Bills might be getting a little too much respect right now for this
They
line.
are. I think they are getting some guys back, though. I wrote that in my notes too on defense, so I did consider that as well. But I think they got a little healthier over the bye week.
Yeah, so an interesting stat with the Bills and Josh Allen. So obviously coming off the bye week, on extra rest during the season in his career, Josh Allen is just 11, 15, and 1 against the spread, including 0 and 2 ATS this season. Um, it with the home dog that's a lot of what my play is here. The number, keep this within a touchdown. I think with just the Bills' struggles recently defensively, even with some guys coming back, I've got to pick against the public here. There's probably going to be all over Buffalo um, coming off a bye week, but give me the Panthers at plus 7.5 as my dirty dog. Bears at the Ravens. So Lamar. He's going to be back this week, I guess so, because this line at
Looking at
six and a
the
half.
if you're going by the spread, Vegas thinks he will be back. Yeah,
So
he was a limited participant at practice today on Wednesday. So
yeah, and it sounds like Roquan Smith will be back for them on defense. Look, Lamar, when he's healthy, and we'll see how healthy he is this upcoming Sunday, he doesn't lose to NFC teams. And I like this spot for Baltimore because it's really now or never for this team if they want to get to the playoffs. They're 1-5 coming into this week. And on the Bears side, as a head coach, Ben Johnson could be seeing Lamar for the first time this week when Lamar faces an opposing head coach for the first time. He is 37-8 straight up and 24-21 against the spread, including 16-2 straight up when it's an NFC team. So give me Lamar if he's playing. This line just makes me think he will be playing. He changes everything for this Ravens team, and I think Bears high off the recent success to start this season. Give me the Ravens in this spot.
even with Lamar returning, that is still way too many points because Lamar doesn't play defense, and their defense is still really bad. We saw that even. I know, yeah, they are getting Roquan Smith back, but I don't think he's gonna. I mean, it's better than nothing. Better than nothing, but it's not going to fix all issues with their defense. So yeah, I mean, if Lamar returns, I'm pretty confident they're going to win at home against this Bears team who is slightly overachieving. But for a Bears team that's been playing that well, I think 6.5 is being a little too. I don't know. It's a little bit disrespectful to me, in my opinion. And I could end up being dead wrong, but I just think that's too many points. So I'll take the Bears at plus 6.5. Ravens win if Lamar plays. Ravens lose if he doesn't. But either way, Bears cover. Okay, Texans 49ers. This is another gross game, in my opinion, just because you really don't know what to do here. So Texans coming off an ugly loss where their defense did everything they could to win that game, and their offense did everything they could to lose that game. And ultimately, the offense prevailed for the Texans. Um, uh, and then you got San Francisco coming off a good. Both teams coming off primetime games. San Francisco coming off a good win at home against Atlanta. I guess, do we know who's playing quarterback for San Francisco this week?
I would assume Mac Jones, but if I were Brock Purdy, I'd want to get myself into these games because if Mac Jones keeps winning games, I'd start to get a little worried.
Um, and you might completely disagree with me, but I'm going with the Texans at -1.5, just because their defense is playing so well right now that they're just due for one of these types of wins against a good team. I feel like think of the Browns. Think of the Browns a few weeks ago. Their defense has been playing pretty well all year, and they finally got that big win against Green Bay. They just found a way to beat a good team because of their defense, and I just think the Texans are just due for that at some point. I think this is the week at home after a loss that was kind of frustrating. So yeah, give me the Texans at -1.5.
Since Christmas of 2023, the 49ers are 1-13 against the spread after a straight up win, failing to cover the spread by 7.5 points per game. This is the Texans get right game. I'm in total agreement with you. I like the number at 1.5. Everyone is down on them, and this is the perfect spot to take them. Their offense has been awful to watch. It was painful to watch on Monday. I just wanted them to succeed at some point because their defense was doing everything, getting 4 turnovers on the Seahawks in that game.
And that's what they've been doing all year. I mean,
Yeah.
defense is balled out. Yeah.
And for me, the Niners are just a team that are kind of walking that tightrope. They're staying alive. They've incredible coaching from both Shanahan and Saleh on defense. He might be the best defensive coordinator in the league. But yeah, they had so many opportunities created by their defense. It was Stroud's worst game that I think I'd seen him play. For me, it's just like bet against that happening again, and just have a team that's desperate for a win, desperate to get things right against a team who's kind of just been getting by with these wins. The Texans defense is allowing just 14.7 points per game this season. So,
And they're 2-4.
right, and they're 2-4. They're staring up at Indianapolis at 6-1. So yeah, give me the Texans 1.5. We finally agree on one. It feels like it's been a while. Buccaneers at the Saints. Okay, this is the one that I need your help on because I love this at 6.5 in favor of the Saints. Whenever it was 6.5, but it's down to 4.5. Plus 4.5 to the Saints. I don't feel as strong about the line right now. I wanted to go Saints in this spot. Divisional game, more than a field goal makes this a Saints spot. I think Rattler last week was just too juiced for that Chicago game. He wanted to prove that he was better than Caleb going back to their Oklahoma days. But the Bucks are, beat up. Mike Evans with the broken clavicle. Baker with one of his worst performances on Monday Night Football. But 5-2 straight up. They're 71% and have a point differential of -1 this season. They've been a lot like the Niners. They've been walking that tightrope. With Evans out and off a short week, I just don't know where I fall in this game.
Similar, yeah. You mentioned similar to the 49ers Texans. Difference is the Texans are, I don't care about the Texans offenses. They are 50 times better than the Saints are. Yeah, I can see when it gets up to 6.5, Saints would be a good play. But I mean, Rattler in his career, including this year, 0-6 against the spread as a home dog. That's just a trend that I can't ignore, in my opinion. Especially if it's gone down to 4.5. I'm licking my chops right now with Tampa. I just divisional games, yeah, can be weird. But Baker just seems like the guy who'll do everything he can to bounce back after ugly performance. And yeah, the Evans injury sucks, but we've been seeing him do that all year with Sterling Shepard and Des Johnson and K-Dot and guys like that. So, yeah, give me the Bucks here at -4.5. I think I would have been more indecisive. If it wasn't 6.5, I would have been more indecisive at that. But it's gone down to 4.5. I love Tampa here.
I'm a big Baker fan, and he'll probably rally the troops. So I'll go with you on this one. I'll take the Bucks at -4.5. But got Cowboys at Broncos. So this one I think could be potential game of the week. This is probably my most anticipated matchup outside of the Sunday Night Football, which we'll get to. An unstoppable seems like Dallas offense versus what we thought would be an immovable Denver defense. They haven't really impressed too much, especially last week, giving up that many points to the Giants. But I'd rather take the good team as home favorites. That's Denver at -3.5, who struggled last week against a team who won easily in Dallas. Cowboys can score it well, but it's usually against bad teams. Last 3 games against the Jets, Panthers, and what has become a real mess in Washington, unfortunately. The Broncos have been a house of horrors for the Cowboys in recent history. In the last 30 years, the Cowboys are 0-7 straight up and 2-5 against the spread against Denver. Dallas' last win versus the Broncos came back in 1995 in a John Elway Troy Aikman matchup. Dak Prescott's good.
Just win, just a win.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, I'll see. I want to see Denver respond after giving up that many points and having to claw their way back in the final quarter. I think they want to get out and show off their defense in this game and against a good, really explosive offense in Dallas. So give me Denver at -3.5.
Total agreement. And even coming from a guy who won't back off the Dallas wins the NFC East train just yet. But yes, I like the Denver here because Dallas still has a bad defense. And yeah, Denver's defense had a bad game last week, but they've had a couple bad games, I feel like, this year, but we've seen them bounce back constantly after a bad game. So, yeah, and this is the best defense Dallas has faced in a while. Like you said, Jets, they're so-so. Depends on who shows up. Panthers have a horrible defense. And Commanders have a really bad defense, too. Their offense is getting a lot of flack. Obviously, injuries, but I feel like it's mainly their defense has just been awful. Yeah. Bobby Wagner's still living off that mid-2010s reputation. He is – I don't know why people still think he's good. No disrespect to him, but he's
Shots
sometimes
fired by Logan here.
He's sometimes still heralded as a good linebacker, and he's just not. He's slow. I mean, yeah, they're old on the defensive side, and that's what Dallas took advantage of. That I don't think they'll be able to take advantage of anything they give them because their defense is really good. Yeah, give me the Broncos at -3.5. I remember that game that game was at Dallas, but that classic Romo Manning game. The final score was 51-48. If Denver's defense does play bad again, we could see something like that again because,
like I said, game of the week potential.
Yeah, potentially. There's definitely potential for game of the week. Okay, your final evening game is Titans at Colts. Colts are 14.5-point favorites. This is one you just do not bet because the only way the Colts do not cover this is if they just don't take it seriously because they've already played this year. They already played at Tennessee. Colts won that game by 20. The Titans are worse now because, Jeffrey Simmons isn't even going to be playing. I think probably he's hurt. He's by far their best player. Calvin Ridley's probably still going to be out. Tyler Lockett wants to be traded. And yeah, their coach has been fired. Now, I was almost right about that head coaching boost, the interim coach boost, because they did play well for a quarter and a half against New England. And then they just fell apart. And yeah, I mean, the play here is you just assume the Colts play their normal game. And if they do play the normal game, they cover the spread easily at 14.5 at home. So, yeah, like I said, this is a do not bet because there's more to this than the game itself. It just all comes down to how do the Colts prepare for this.
Right.
But assuming they prepare for it like a normal game, Colts cover the spread easily. So that's what I'm going to go with. Colts -14.5.
even if the Colts play conservatively and they just, run the football, this is one of the worst run defenses going against one of the best running backs in the league right now in Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, don't really think we need to speak too much on this game. Usually this would be a spot to take the underdog with this huge 14.5 point spread, but I have
In a
no
division game.
in division. I have no faith in this Titans team. Um, I think the Colts want to continue to prove they're not a fluke. They want to stomp out this divisional opponent, and I think they'll do so in this week. So, yeah, give me the Colts at minus 14.5. Will not bet. There's other games I'd rather bet on than this one. All right, we're down to our Sunday night football matchup. It is the Packers at the Steelers, and Aaron Rodgers gets to play his old team for the first time in his career, the Green Bay Packers. So plenty of juice here in this game. Rodgers has faced all other 31 teams, covering the spread in at least one game versus each. If Rodgers covers versus the Packers, he would join just Drew Brees as the only QB to beat and cover at least one game versus all 32 teams. Pretty cool stat for Aaron Rodgers there. This is the quintessential Mike Tomlin spot. Awful loss. Tomlin is 61-46 against the spread as a coach of the Steelers. He is 25-14 ATS as an underdog off of an outright loss, including 12-3 ATS as a home dog off a straight up loss. He's been listed as a home dog in 32 games as a coach, going 22-7-3. The Steelers have had their struggles in Thursday night football games, but since 2010, after the Steelers play on Thursday night football, they're 12-3 straight up and 9-6 against the spread, including 3-2 straight up in that spot when listed as underdogs. Steelers defense has had a lot of time to let the pain of getting picked apart by Joe Flacco stew on this extended rest. They definitely have something to prove in this primetime spot. At +3, I saw earlier this week it was +3.5. That's when I would grab it. If it goes back there, I'd definitely bet on this. At +3, I'm still going to take the Steelers in this spot at home.
Yeah, I don't even care about the Rodgers versus Green Bay thing. This is just everything to do with Tomlin as a home underdog, in my opinion. You said it, 22-7-3 against the spread as a home dog. I mean, that's the play here. And we haven't even mentioned Green Bay. Green Bay is, I don't know, they're one of the only two teams that only has one loss this year. But, man, they have not. After the first 2 weeks, where they destroyed the Lions and they beat up the Commanders, we thought, okay, this is
we thought they were real
Super Bowl contender. And, yeah, I mean, they've gone, 2-1-1 since then, but it's been an ugly 2-1-1, losing to Cleveland, tying with Dallas, and that game where Micah Parsons had every reason to play well. And then since their bye week, it's just been two ugly wins. Cincinnati gave them a game when Joe Flacco just got there 3 days before. And then that Arizona game, they were down the entire game into the last couple minutes. So, yeah, I mean, this just has everything pointing at the Steelers here. Give me that Steelers +3 easily, in my opinion. And then Monday Night Football, Commanders at the Chiefs. This is now at 11.5 points because Jaden Daniels is not going to be playing officially. Marcus Mariota will be getting the start. I mean, this is the exact same kind of play as last week against the Raiders, and I expect the Chiefs to just continue that. I don't like Mariota or this Commanders defense going into Arrowhead on a primetime spot. This is very easily Chiefs. Even just historically, Chiefs are 8-0 straight up and against the spread against the Washington Redskins or Commanders in the last 40 years. So I believe that'll go to 9-0. Give me the Chiefs all day.
Just the Redskins and Commanders. Did they ever play the Washington football team?
That's a good point. I actually thought about saying that, but I was like, there's like a 1 in 4 chance they did, so I'll play the odds. I think they didn't, but I'll have to look back.
Last week I learned my lesson. I tried to take the Raiders on a huge spread in a divisional matchup against the Chiefs, and it didn't work out for me at all.
I told you that this Raiders team is bad. Like, they've had bad teams in the past, but something about this team's just dysfunctional.
It's not working. They've got Bowers out for some couple of those games. So yeah, give me the Chiefs here, 11.5. You know when you should have bet this one? When it opened at 6.5 last week. That's when you take this game. But yeah, even at 11.5,
And
it's
if Daniels was playing, I would take that 6.5 easily.
still,
Yeah.
yeah. The remarkable thing for Patrick Mahomes is after he covers the spread versus divisional opponent, he is 14-3 against the spread, covering the spread by 7.6 points per game. So there's really no letdown when he's at home in that spot. He's 11-0 straight up, 10-1 against the spread. So all signs point to KC. Seems like they're getting right after the slow start to the season. They got a lot of their offensive pieces back. Things are looking really good for that offense, and it's really opened things up for Travis Kelce in the middle because last season the big topic was like, God, Travis Kelce's bad. Like he looks really slow. He looks really bad. He's not uh, putting up the usual stats, and I think he just needed those guys. Hollywood Brown has been huge for them, opening things up for him in the middle. So yeah,
And
Chiefs
Rasheed
11.5.
Rice. Rasheed Rice has had a
Rasheed
big
Rice as
game
well.
in his comeback game. He scored a couple touchdowns. So yeah, this Chiefs offense. Yeah, I mean this is the best the Chiefs have looked in my opinion the last few years,
Yep.
and they're 4-3, but that's because they got off to a slow start.
Yep. Well, that's our week 8 picks against the spread. I feel like it didn't take that long. You know why? Because there's 6 teams on a bye week this week. This is the biggest bye week of the year. Don't have a doubleheader on Monday night, which is nice. Don't have a morning game, which is nice. So keep it light this week. Definitely try to bounce back over the past couple of weeks that I've had. So we had a lot of differences this week, so it'll be interesting to see how the records shape out. Let's move on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
More
7,
than
8,
half of
9,
them,
10,
I
11,
think.
12, 13 games. So that means I will either be under or over 500 after
Right.
this week. So, unless there's a tie. I'm surprised we haven't had a tie yet. That's surprising.
Yeah. Well, we got some 7s, or we have at least one 7 on the board this week. But let's move on to college football. So we're going to keep it short here. Too many days in between to recap a bunch of games, but the big news out of last weekend was Florida firing Billy Napier. We kind of knew this was going to happen. He's been kind of just been teetering on this, saving his job with incredible late season runs, and then just starting off seasons with just bad losses. That it was about damn time.
Well, the week you weren't here, I said he's arguably the greatest coach in college football history when his job is on the line.
Yeah.
When he's going against a ranked team and his job is on the line, there's really no debate. He's the greatest coach. He was the greatest coach in college football history.
Yeah, and so it was about time. He was 22-23, just record in 4 years with the program. That doesn't cut it at UF. So now with that job open, I've heard that Marcus Freeman's already turned it down. They've tried to get him from Notre Dame. I think Lane Kiffin is going to be probably the hot commodity, the hot target for this job. Will he leave Oxford? Will he leave Ole Miss? I don't know. But now we have a few jobs that are looking like a couple of the best jobs that will be on the market this offseason between Florida and Penn State, and potentially this LSU job if Brian Kelly can't get things together, because after a loss to Vandy in Nashville, his job should be getting to that point where you're thinking, a program like LSU, you need to have a guy who can get you across the finish line. And so it doesn't look like it's going to be Brian Kelly. And so we'll see if he's able to keep his job by the end of this year. But don't be surprised if James Franklin gets a call for this job in Florida, because Florida's in a bit of a different spot than Penn State is, right? They're not right there. They need someone to come in and rebuild that culture. And, Franklin isn't the guy to get you across the finish line, but he can definitely build a culture within that locker room. So, what do you think about this job?
Yeah, it's right on par with Penn State, but for different reasons. I haven't looked at the numbers. I would assume Penn State probably has more NIL, or
I think most of the Big Ten teams will,
yes,
out pay an SEC school.
Yes. Difference is, though, Florida is in a much better college spot than Penn State. Penn State's in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Gainesville is Gainesville. It's SEC country, Florida. So, yeah, they're both on the same level for different reasons. I like James Franklin is exactly what Florida needs. Someone who has experience of winning at the highest level. Obviously, he hasn't never won a championship or anything, but he was always there. Penn State was always relevant. And yeah, that's something that Florida needs. Yeah, the Brian Kelly marriage just needs to end. It was just a weird fit from the very beginning.
Right.
Yeah, they got false hope when they beat Clemson earlier in the year, but it turned out Clemson was a dumpster fire. So and they haven't really had any impressive wins since. And now they have to face Texas A&M at home this week. So, yeah, the three big games of the week this week, and yes, mostly SEC. There's really nothing huge anywhere else. Ole Miss at Oklahoma. It's number 8 versus number 13. Ole Miss looking to bounce back after the first loss. Missouri at Vandy. Number 15 at number 10. Both one-loss SEC teams. The winner of this could be in a great spot going forward. And then, like I said, Texas A&M is number 3 and undefeated, and they're at number 20, LSU. Must win for LSU.
Yeah, must win. And shout out to Vandy getting in the top 10 for the first time since 1947. Also, IU coming in at number 2. We've got 2 Big Ten schools at the top of the AP poll. Pretty cool. IU's never gotten to number 2. They never got to number 3 this for this program. So a couple surprise schools up there in the top 10. But yeah, some big SEC games on the docket for this weekend. Let's move on to baseball. We have the World Series matchup set. It will be the Dodgers against the Blue Jays. But before that, let's talk about some of these performances in the LCS round. Shohei Ohtani records
what did he do?
He only put up 10 Ks in 6 scoreless innings. And then not only that, he hit 3 home runs to put away the Brewers. He puts together probably the greatest playoff performance in the history of baseball. I mean,
what else could you compare it to?
Yeah, there's nothing. Babe Ruth didn't pitch and hit at the same time. He did them both at different times in his career. So this has never been done before. It's an incredible thing to watch. I'm lucky to be alive to be able to get to see this in my lifetime because this is incredible. And I mean, at this point, you have to start thinking about Ohtani being the greatest player of all time, just based on what he can do and the versatility that he has. But on the American League side of things, we say farewell to the Seattle Mariners, who put together a great run this season. A team that had never been to the World Series. They're the last MLB team that hasn't made a World Series in their franchise history, and due in large part to Mr. Clutch in the playoffs, George Springer hitting a 3-run homer that pretty much catapulted this Toronto Blue Jays squad to the Fall Classic. And as far as Seattle's concerned, in professional sports, we talk about the windows to getting a title. They close quickly, and in baseball, I feel like they close quicker than most other sports. We may not see Seattle back here in this position, which is an unfortunate thing. They have a lot of young talent, but that doesn't always carry over into the next season when these seasons are so long. Baseball is such a fickle game, and you can't bet that this team's going to be right back in this position to make a run to the World Series again. But we've got a really great matchup with the Dodgers and Blue Jays. So yeah, give me your thoughts on what happened in the LCS round and this matchup coming up.
Yeah, I remember going into the NLCS, they were talking like how the Brewers had beaten the Dodgers in the regular season a couple times, and we clearly saw that means absolutely nothing.
Squat.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, Dodgers just took care of business, didn't even really seem to care when they won. treated it kind of just like a regular. I mean, just if you just watch the reaction after they got the final out, they just look like, yep, this is a normal baseball game in July that we just won. So clearly they
Right.
have bigger aspirations. Yeah, the ALCS game was awesome at Game 7. Yeah, because that was a 3-run home run that gave them just a 1-point lead. Yeah, they were down to, I believe, in the 7th inning, and Springer hit that clutch home run in the 7th, and they took that 4-3 lead and didn't look back. That was, that's like a dream moment for any baseball player, and then George Springer, I feel like, has those moments almost every postseason. So,
Yeah,
World
and
Series. Question is who's America's team? Who's America's team this World Series? Is it the Dodgers, who everyone seems to hate, or is it the Blue Jays, who are obviously in Canada? So, I'm gonna go with my prediction from the beginning of the year. Dodgers are going to win this series. I think
you
they'll
had
win it
them.
in 5. The Dodgers have road field advantage in this series, and yeah, I say road field advantage because for me, home field advantage means absolutely nothing in baseball, and it's actually true because since 2022, since the playoffs have expanded, home teams actually have a losing record in the postseason. So, but it doesn't matter. Dodgers could have home field or road field advantage, and they'd still probably win this in 5 or 6, possibly 4.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle proved that going to Toronto was a piece of cake, and they got the 2 wins to start that series, and so yeah, an interesting stat. This is the 5th time since the LCS round began that one team swept their playoff round and the other went 7 games. In the previous 4 instances, the team that went 7 games ended up winning the World Series. That was the Giants over the Tigers in 2012, Red Sox over the Rockies in 2007, my St. Louis Cardinals over the Tigers in 2006. Man, the Tigers are getting the shaft in this segment. Dodgers over the A's in 1988. That was the classic Kirk Gibson series. I don't believe what I just saw. So that was, an interesting stat coming into this season, coming into this playoff round. The Blue Jays, they have a shot, I think, to win this, but yeah, there's a lot of what ifs. Is Bo Bichette going to play? That's a huge thing. He's been out since September 6th when he got injured. He strained his PCL or sprained his his PCL in that game against the Yankees, and so he hasn't been back since then. Hasn't played in the playoffs yet, but he would be a huge X factor for the Blue Jays in this series. Blue Jays bats are rocking since that Seattle series, and the big matchup I think in this game is going to be between that lineup for Toronto against the Dodgers starting pitching, which has been incredible. They haven't even had to really dig deep into their bullpen, which is probably their one weak spot on this team. So the big, question is, will the Toronto bats be able to get them to the bullpen of the Dodgers? Because then that's when they can really start to unload and have a lot of success against this team. But the Dodgers are rested. They've had a lot of rest since sweeping the Brewers, and is the long series that Toronto had against Seattle going to work against them here? I don't know. It's baseball, so if this was basketball, maybe we'd be questioning that a little bit more. But should be a fun series. Like you said, you had the Dodgers at the beginning of the year. That was a great pick. Chalky,
I know
but
it was very bold at the time. It was bold. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it should be a lot of fun. We'll be able to recap some games as they go across. This is the World Series. We're going to recap these games. We're going to watch them. So let's finish things off though. We have our NBA preview. Now we're not going to go as in depth as we did with the NFL. That was across 8 weeks that we previewed the season. We also did a whole segment, a whole episode almost on Major League Baseball, going division by division. But here I just
And we
wanted
did
to
a big
open the
segment on
floor.
NBA playoffs too. We did a big segment on NBA
Right.
playoffs too, because frankly, that's just more exciting than the regular season. But
Yes,
yeah, but it's
yes.
definitely still worth previewing to some degree the regular season.
Yep. So I wanted to just open this up with some just questions, some talking points on basically the top contenders this year coming into this season. Obviously, the Thunder, the defending champs. Usually, this happens. People are asking, are they going to repeat? They are favorites to take the title this season. They're also, I think, they're plus 750 to three-peat. Like, there's already a line out there for a three-peat.
Why would
Um,
anyone bet that? Why would
oh man. Um, but yeah. So really, who are the biggest contenders to OKC coming into this season, Logan?
Okay, yeah, so I have some controversial opinions on this topic, excluding some teams. I wrote so many teams out. Like I did contenders, and I did like just the fringe contenders. So actual legitimate contenders, in my opinion, the Nuggets for sure. We saw that series go 7 games last year,
Yeah.
and I like the Cam Johnson addition. Uh,
Yes.
for the Nuggets. I think that should work very well. Just hope they stay healthy. And that those two will be battling out in the West, in my opinion, until the very end. I think a healthy, and this is healthy is very key here because very serious doubt this is true. A healthy Mavericks team is very, very good, and I like incredibly good. Um, when Anthony Davis is your 4, and then you have guys like Gafford and Lively as your 5. I mean, that front court, that's just an insane front court. Pair that with Kyrie returning in January, and then veteran presence Klay Thompson, and then of course Cooper Flag. I love this Mavericks roster. Do they deserve this roster? Absolutely not, because of the Luka fiasco and the NBA rigging the lottery for them. But I'm really looking forward to watching them play. And then I put 2 East teams because I mean the Thunder. If whoever comes out of the West has to play an East team in the title. So if
Right.
an East team makes the title, they're only 4 wins away from winning it. So, and to me, it's pretty obvious. I think it's the Knicks and Cavs. I think those two are clearly above everyone else with the East's injuries. Um, Cavs had the best regular season last year and didn't really lose anybody. And then the Knicks obviously made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and are bringing back the same team as last year. So yeah, those are my contenders. The fringe contenders, I put the Rockets. They're not. They're going to go 0-82 this year, based off Rockets and Lakers are on pace to go 0-82 after last night's results. But yeah, Rockets, Lakers, Warriors, and Timberwolves are my fringe contenders. I just don't.
Okay.
I don't trust Durant anymore. For something, Durant is a fun player to watch. I've talked about this so many times. He's a fun player to watch. It's just something since he's left Golden State. When he goes to a team, they underperform, and I just don't see anything different happening here. Lakers are fringe contenders. I'm not even say they're not even contenders until the LeBron era is over. I just think the LeBron thing's just too big of a distraction. Like I don't know how committed he actually is at this moment in his career, and I think the Lakers are probably just ready to move on with the Luka era. Warriors are just too old, in my opinion. Butler and Curry, they will always be a tough out, but I just think they're too old. And then the Timberwolves just always find Minnesota sports teams always find a way to lose somehow, some way. So, and then out of the East, the Magic. I love the Magic this year. They could definitely be a threat in the East, but I still think they're just a little too young in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely like Denver. There's one guy that they're bringing back from their championship team. That's Bruce Brown. So I think that's a huge offseason pickup, along with the Cam Johnson. I think those are guys that just fit in that system, and I think more so the players that are going out of that roster uh, are positives for Denver. I know Russell Westbrook was a huge energy guy that we talked about during the playoffs, but I
That's not
think
sustainable
he
at all. Yeah.
he still ends up being a liability when you come down to it. And then I think Michael Porter Jr. Getting rid of him, I just don't think he was a good fit anymore with this roster, and I think Cam Johnson just fits in perfectly. Um, Yeah, I'm a big Magic proponent. I love the Magic and what they're building there. They added Desmond Bain this offseason. I think they could really compete in the East until Cleveland proves that they can get it done on the east side of the bracket. I don't really trust them. The Knicks are fascinating. I think it'll be really interesting to see. I don't really care what happens in the regular season. I know they'll be in the playoffs, but I want to see what they look like come playoffs under Mike Brown, as opposed to what they look like under Thibodeau. Because under Thibodeau, those guys were worked like dogs. The starting five stayed out there 40 plus minutes a game, and it'll be interesting to see how Mike Brown uses this roster. Um,
I think barring injuries, if they regress this year under Mike Brown, I could see him being a one and out. Because if you think, I mean, the East is really being served to them on a silver platter this year, and if
right.
they regress and blow this opportunity, yeah, that could be trouble in New York.
What is a team that you think their championship window is closed?
Milwaukee. Uh, Giannis can only do so much, and their offseason additions do not help at all. Miles Turner, I mean, the Pacers won 3 games in that series against the Thunder in spite of Miles Turner. Uh, most, maybe the most overrated acquisition of the offseason. That I really like. Yeah, I don't. Giannis is probably going to one out of there in my opinion because I don't think it's going to work. Sixers for obvious reasons, they just can never stay healthy. And then I put the two LA teams, the Lakers mostly because LeBron. Until LeBron goes, I just feel like their ceiling is set. Like if they want to seriously contend for a title, I feel like they need to just move on from that era, embrace the Luka era, build around him. Uh, and then the Clippers, their guys are getting too old, and Kawhi doesn't. I don't know how much Kawhi cares anymore. Harden's as fun as much as I love watching James Harden play. I think his time is near expiration as well. And I'm still seeing people saying they're a contender, and I'm like, no, 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 no,
Mm,
no.
yeah, the Clippers would be my pick for the team that their window's closed, because not only is this a team that underperforms come playoff time, um, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with that organization right now. So the drama surrounding them doesn't help their case at all coming into this season. On the flip side of that, who's your dark horse team to really over exceed expectations coming into this season?
So for me in the West, I'm going with the classic: win way more games than you're supposed to, have an obvious ceiling, but become relevant again. I'm going really dark. I'm going Trailblazers. They finished the year strong last year. Signed Drew. They had kind of all the things a dark horse usually has. That kind of comes out of nowhere. Finished well last year. Finished the year well. Added a veteran, Drew Holiday, to their roster, and they're young. Most of their talent is young, so they should only theoretically only get better. And if one of those guys like Klingon or Sharp or someone like that takes the next step, I mean that could be a team that is a hard out every game and makes it to the playoff. Could be like last year's Rockets almost. A team that had that I don't know, they won't get the 2 seed like the Rockets did, but a team that really good in the regular season has an obvious ceiling, but it is a tough out. And then you might say I'm a homer. I'm going to say the Pacers are still a dark horse in the East, mainly because no one's giving them any chance to do anything. And yeah, they're not making the title or anything this year. But with the East so injured, I still think they have a great shot to get like a 4 or 5 seed in this conference. With the roster they have, when we saw just with all those guys have playoff experience now. Championship experience now. I
Yeah.
could see the Pacers being like a tough out every game and earning like the 5th seed or something like that, and then going all in the next year when Halliburton returns.
Yeah, it's even with the Halliburton injury, that it's a pretty talented team and very underrated. I love the Portland pick. That's a sneaky good pick right there for a dark horse team. But um, any thoughts on the Spurs? Maybe would this be a
I
season
had
when
them as my most overhyped team.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we were just
that
gonna
was
get to
probably
that. Yep.
that was my boldest. That's my boldest take.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
before I go into that, I want to hear your dark horses if you have any.
yeah. The Portland pick was nice, but yeah, I kind of like Dallas. Really isn't a dark horse pick, but I think a lot of people maybe aren't looking at them as like a title contender because Kyrie's going to be out for those first couple months, and that we really don't know what Cooper looks like at the NBA level. So it should be interesting to see what happens there. But I think if they can hold the fort down until Kyrie gets back, it could be a very dangerous team come March and April.
Their size is kind of reminiscent of like that 2011 championship team. Because remember, I mean, that was obviously that Dirk, but that team was like huge
Tyson
with
Chandler
Chandler
and
and guys like that. I mean, yeah, I mean, they're a big team, and I really, I really think they're built well. But yeah, similar to the Sixers, their guys have a long history of not staying healthy, so that's the big bugaboo with them.
so yeah, so I like them. I think when you look at some of the teams in the West, the Timberwolves don't feel complete. Like there's just something missing with them. Rockets, you mentioned with Durant, it's a weird situation everywhere he goes, and then there's just some old teams I feel like out west that won't sustain any long term success, be able to make a deep playoff run. So I do like Dallas as a dark horse pick. You mentioned your overhyped team. Is that your only one with San Antonio?
That was the only one I wrote was Spurs. I'm I, I even said Wimby is an overhyped player. I mean, yes, he's very fun to watch, very unique. His highlights are incredible. Uh, he's only 40-77 career record wise. I know. Oh, he doesn't have any help. Okay, yeah, sure, okay, but I mean, you see. I mean, there's been several examples of guys in the past who or get drafted high, but still find ways to win and get better than that. Like people are saying he's already a top 5 player. Well, if your career record's 40-77 and you haven't proven you can stay healthy, I feel like that's a little. Yeah, and the Spurs are just overhyped because I don't know if Wimby can stay healthy. That and De'Aaron Fox is already out with an injury. Um, I don't. Yeah, I could see this being just another year for the Spurs. It's people are going to say it was a wasted year for Wembanyama's career. I would love to see Wembanyama with some actual pieces. I mean, he's such a fascinating player to watch, but at this moment, they've just done nothing to deserve the hype that they get, in my opinion, other than have highlights.
Yeah, yeah. He should be a lock for defensive player of the year, though, probably for multiple
Yes,
years. Um,
as
so
long as he
yeah.
stays healthy, absolutely.
Um, last thing, MVP candidates. Who do you got for regular season MVP?
CSGA won it last year. Um, I'm gonna go Jokic. SGA just doesn't seem. He played great last night. He just doesn't seem like the kind of guy who goes back to back. I don't know, something about it. I think he'll win another MVP in the future, but he just doesn't seem like one of those back to back guys. So I'm gonna go Jokic. I love this. Like I said, we both love this Nuggets team, and I think he's gonna excel this year. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm total agreement there. He's already won it a couple times, so he feels more likely to win another than the rest of these guys. Maybe I could see Luca, full season in LA if he stays healthy, could really compete for that with Jokic.
put up
So
43. Put up 43 last night against the Warriors. So yeah, he definitely looks to be back to his original self. It's just I just don't really like the structure of their team.
Yeah. So yeah, that is our condensed NBA preview because it is just the regular season. We'll definitely dive super deep into the NBA once we get close to playoffs. It's mostly football right now, though, so we'll check back in maybe around the Christmas Day games because Christmas is still supposed to be the NBA's day and not the NFL. So we'll check back in around that time. Big shout out to NBC. Love that the NBA is back on that. It looked good. The old theme, the theme song, it looked great on that network. So really cool that it's back on there. And we got some ESPN games tonight. We'll get to see Cooper Flag tonight play. So pretty cool stuff there. All right,
No, I
that'll do
really
it here
missed.
at the.
The NBA games really lacked. It really lacked Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins arguing with each other until right before tip off. Like that's what NBC
so
really
much
needs.
better
They need
that
something like that.
so much better now. All right, that'll do it here for the KNL Sports Huddle. We'll be back next week. Hey, remember Sunday is National Tight Ends Day, so maybe throw some money on the tight ends to really do some big stuff on Sunday. But I'm Cage Kiplinger. That's Logan Hubert. We will see you back next week with more picks, more conversations. We'll see you then.